big fire in there.
Hey, wait, do you have, how many he has? 50 rounds, right?
Yeah.
So he has how many in the magazine so we can get the rest?
I'll count them up right now. So hang out right here. Let me go notify them that we're gonna be here.
What's going on, bud?
Good.
Can you tell me where I can be that's like not too close but not too far?
As long as you're just not in front of the table, because that's going to be technically downrange.
Okay.
Brass will be ejecting this way, so if you don't want to get hit by brass, typically that side is going to be.
Okay. So this is just stay here then.
All right, so you're gonna start with one shot, right?
Yeah,
Let me count them.
17 to 17.
All right, I got the rest. Let me come back.
All right, so what we're going to do for right now, we're just going to put one round in the gun.
Right.
Okay. So you already know how he told you to insert the magazine, rack the chamber, or drop the slide, right?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So this is going to be your magazine, right? When you go to insert it into the gun, because the gun's going to be locked to the rear, you can either do one of two ways. You can hit this button right here.
Yeah.
Or if you want, when you insert a fresh magazine, if you lightly pull back on the slide, you're going to see the release, the slide release drop down. So you can either rack the slide or do it with your thumb, whichever one's easier for you. Okay. First, I want to just see how you grip the gun, so go ahead and pick up the gun with your dominant hand. Perfect. All right. So you're going to be a little bit more relaxed, right? You want both of your arms to extend out, right? Because if you have something pushing against, having your arm with a bend in it, it's going to create a weak point.
Okay.
Okay. So when you line up your sights, that dot is going to be right in the center and level with the U-shaped notch in the back.
Yeah.
So it should be the U-shaped knot with the dot sitting right in the What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the slide for you, and I want you to dry fire the gun 5 times, okay? So I'm going to rack the slide, all right? So go ahead and put your finger on the trigger. When you put your finger on the trigger, you're going to feel like a little creep back.
Yeah.
That's take up. Okay, once you pull back past that point, it should get hard, and then the gun should go click. So keep pulling. Perfect. So keep the trigger held to the rear. Keep the trigger back, okay? So I'm going to rack the slide. Slowly release your finger until you hear a click.
Yeah, heard it.
You heard the click?
Yeah.
So then re-engage the trigger. So hold the trigger again to the rear. Now slowly release to the click. Now right there. No. So fire again, all the way. So when you release that trigger, right, just to right there where that click was. Now when you re-engage the trigger, it should be very crisp. So re-engage. Okay, so that reset click is when you, exactly. So you see how it's a lot smoother? You don't have to take out all that sponginess in the trigger, right? So go ahead and place the pistol down. All right. So again,
Remember, every time that we're coming off of the gun, your finger's off the trigger.
Right. So again, the gun goes click, gun cycles, right to the reset, click, and then again, click, right? So that's for your follow-up shots. That's how you're, instead of you having to take the whole slack out of the trigger and re-get to that spot again, you're already right where it needs to be. Otherwise, you're gonna have to re-engage and fire. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and load your 1 round. Okay, so you're just simply gonna take your magazine and your gun. You're gonna insert your magazine and slam it and make sure that you actually seat the magazine. Drop the slide, chamber the round, and then just come up whenever you're ready. You're just gonna slowly take your shot. Just like that. All right, so it's gonna be just 1 shot, so you don't have to worry about follow-up.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and pick up the pistol. Perfect. Awesome. Right, so you still got to drop that slide, right? So either you could use your thumb to drop the slide. All right, and again, you want to make sure you have, there you go. Okay, so when you're ready to shoot, go ahead and place your finger on that trigger, aim at the center of that bullseye at the top target. All right, not bad. Okay, drop the trigger. Okay, place it back down. So we're gonna do that 5 times, okay?
Okay. Now don't forget what we said about thumb over thumb. You're doing the revolver lockdown again. Gotta make sure that it's stacked on top of each other.
All right, so same thing, insert the magazine. Drop the slide. Okay, so try and relax, right? I can see your knuckles and you're white knuckling it. So you want to be a little bit relaxed while you're shooting, okay? When you engage that trigger, take your time engaging it. Want that front sight on that red dot, and just slowly squeeze that trigger to the rear, okay? Okay, back down. So you see how your shot went below the first shot? That's just you preemptively adjusting for the recoil. So we tend to want to flinch, right? Because the gun's coming back at us. So right before it comes back at us, just before the gun goes off, we tend to grab the pistol and flinch and pull it down. So I want you to try and relax as you're shooting, okay?
Give me, yeah.
Fit on the table, it's fine.
Okay. That works.
All right, so same thing, pick the gun, index your magazine. This time try and come before you, so you don't want to drop the slide when you're in your shooting stance, right? When you're dropping the slide, you want the gun to be, you're down here with the gun, right?
Yeah.
So as you come up and load, you want to drop the slide here. Perfect, now come up to your sights, and check your sights. Okay, go ahead and engage that trigger. Okay, not bad. Back to the table. All right. Got 3 more, and then we're gonna do 2. Then we're gonna do follow-up shots. Okay. All right.
They moved up their firing line.
Stand by 1 second. Go ahead and pick up the gun.
Move up to that side. Let's go to that side to be safer. That way they're not freaking out.
Okay, so when you engage that trigger again, make sure it's a slow pull, okay?
Huh?
You're not jerking the trigger, you're putting your finger on the trigger, you're
right.
slowly pulling it all the way to the rear, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, not bad. You put it through the same hole, so you have the one at the top, the one at the bottom, the 2 holes in the middle. Those are like your last 2 shots, okay?
Okay.
All right, so now I want you to drop the magazine. Button right there.
Be right back.
Yep. So if you can't hit it with that hand, go ahead and use this thumb. There you go. All right, put the gun down. Pick up a bullet.
A bullet?
Yeah.
Load it in?
Yes, sir. All right, go ahead and pick up the gun. Insert the magazine into the gun. There you go. Okay, so again, try to relax your hands a little bit, right? You can see your knuckles are turning white because how hard you're gripping the pistol. So you don't need to necessarily grip the pistol that hard.
Okay.
All right. Also, this hand, just get it a little higher. There you go. So that's going to help with the flip of the gun in your hand.
Should I keep one of my eyes closed, or?
So if you're a new shooter, normally what I do is I close my left eye, right? Because if you're right eye dominant, close my left eye, focus my sights with my right, and then I try to slowly open my left eye. So that way you can have both eyes open. Or you can just focus on with just the one eye closed. Okay, whatever's more comfortable for you. Nice. Same hole. Seems like you like that spot right down there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same thing. Drop the magazine. Perfect. Load your last round. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Ow.
So yes, hot brass will tend to bounce back at us.
Yeah.
But the thing we want to try and do when anything like that happens, you got to remember you have a
Yeah.
firearm in your hand, always keeping it down range. If you need to, just set it on the table. All right?
Yeah.
So good job not swinging it, because trust me, I've seen that a lot.
It happened. In an indoor, I turned around. Worst mistake ever.
Yeah,
Like
everybody. So same thing, we're going to load. Now go ahead and load 2 rounds, okay? So it's going to get harder the more rounds you try to put in there.
I loaded these 2, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, nice. Okay, so with your stance before you shoot, right? Lean a little bit into the gun. There you go.
So do I just shoot 2 times?
Yeah. So aim at the center of the bullseye. I want you to fire. It's not going to be a double tap or anything. It's going to be you're going to take 1 shot, re-get your sights, loosen off that trigger till you hear that click, and then follow up with the second shot, okay?
Okay.
So it's at your time. It's not any kind of rush. Just try to put 2 shots precise on the paper. Okay, finger off the trigger. So I don't know if you noticed after your first shot.
Yeah,
right?
I took my finger off.
Yeah, right. So this click right here that happens, that audible click. If you notice, my trigger doesn't move when I do that second squeeze. You see how it just instantly fires? If you completely let off, you got to re-engage that sponginess, and then it kind of sponges to the back a little bit, and then the gun goes bang. So that's the area where you end up jerking the trigger just a little. Okay. So same thing. Load up 2 rounds. And I want you to try and focus on when you let that trigger out, you're letting that trigger out slowly to the click, and then re-engaging your sights, re-engaging the pistol, and firing a second round, okay? So it's just to the right, and then just just outside of the bullseyes. Okay. All right. So go ahead and load up 3.
3.
So again, so if injecting the magazine, you're not able to hit it with this thumb, right? What we can do when we're coming out of our shooting stance, if we can't reach it with this one, your thumb's already here, so you could actually just hit it with this thumb and then come up with another magazine, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to necessarily worry about not being able to hit it with your right thumb. Same thing with dropping the slide. If you're not able to hit this button, nothing wrong with coming over the top and just racking the slide just a little bit and getting it to drop home.
Okay. 3 bullets?
Yeah. Alright, finger off the trigger. Okay, remember to let that finger off the trigger.
Right.
So we get, you know, shooting tends to get people nervous, right? So it's understandable that as soon as you let that last shot off, you're holding the trigger down, you might forget. But you're gripping the gun so hard that that's kind of what's causing your accuracy to open up, right? Because you're so tight on everything, you're not letting the gun kind of want to do what it does naturally in your hands a little bit, right? So the gun wants to recoil, wants to rock a little bit. We're fighting those forces. The more you overrun the trigger finger, and you end up causing the gun or your sights to get thrown off. You're just trying to relax a little bit in between your shots, right? Okay. So it's, again, it's not a race, right? So I'm going to put around the trigger. All right, let's shoot to the right of that, right? So I'm going to put my first round, again, not holding the gun super tight. Again, you can see my hands are kind of fairly loose. I pinched them with the front hand, right? So my first round, reset my trigger, follow with my sights. Second round, reset my trigger, follow my sights. Third round, right?
Okay.
So I like to shoot triangles. It's my thing. All right, so go ahead and load up.
How many?
Let's do another 3. And then after that, you'll load up the 5. Last one was bullseye. Next finger. Okay. So try and remember that, right? After your last shot, I want to see your finger come off the trigger before we're dropping the magazine.
Right.
Right? Because the gun's empty, finger should be off, we don't have anything to shoot. We're bringing the gun back either into our workspace to reload it, or, you know, again, ejecting the magazine, filling it up. All right? So let's go ahead and load up those 5. Nice. So you can see what you're doing with your accuracy. I'm gonna load the gun for you. Okay, aim at the bottom target.
The bottom one?
Yeah.
And just shoot it
Yep.
once?
Yep. So you see that tiny little flinch you did there?
Because I was expecting a live round.
Right? So even when we expect a live round, finger off the trigger, we don't want to do that flinch. So that tiny little flinch down here, right? It amplifies, let me see it again. So that tiny flinch down here will amplify downrange, right? By the further distance you are, the more it amplifies. So we're pretty close to the target. So the little bit of flinching you're doing here, that again, it looks like a really good group. Once we stand out there and get a bigger distance on our target, those rounds are gonna start opening up wider and wider, okay? So even though you know that bang's gonna happen, we don't wanna flinch for it, okay? So before we shoot that bottom target, just how I had you do before, you're just gonna dry fire the pistol, right? Hold the pistol, aim your sights, lightly on the trigger, and the gun shouldn't move, right? The gun didn't move. And then again, with the follow-up shot, you're gonna rack your slide, right? We don't wanna see that. Even though it's a little bit, again, that amplifies it downrange a lot, okay? So before we go live down with the bottom target, to help with your groups, all right, and again, look how red your hands are, right? Because you're grabbing the pistol so hard. So just try to loosen your grip just a little bit, right? So again, get this pistol high, and see the other side. Perfect, okay? With this hand should be doing the pinching. This one should